But we start with the Bills rolling the Dolphins. Now, I'll get to Tua and his injury in a moment. I just want to focus on the game. This is a sports show. The game itself, when Tua was healthy, the Dolphins were getting rolled by Buffalo. And I know they'd had their moments where they could have scored a touchdown, maybe to make it a 10-point game. And then all of a sudden they take out Tyreek Hill and Jalen Waddle with 8 minutes to go. Skylar Thompson comes in, and Buffalo goes there. And I said this was a must-win, must-ish win for the Dolphins. Perception-wise, win this game. Even with a healthy Tua, he threw a pick six. He had another interception that wasn't his fault, but did not look good. Tyreek Hill got shut down. If I'm Buffalo, Josh Allen didn't have a great game, but he didn't need to. James Cook was great, and they were able to dominate the Miami Dolphins. So if you said Josh Allen is going to throw for less than 150 yards and he's going to rush for less than 50 yards, I'd be like, and they won? Yes. And that was before you had the injury to Tua. James Cook had 3 touchdowns there. Tua throws 3 interceptions, and then he suffers the concussion in the third quarter. Here was the call on that play with Tua Tagovailoa.
Tua out of the shotgun, back to throw, looking, pressure. He's going to run with it at the 8-yard line.
Got it.
Puts his head down and gets bounced down at the 6, and he looks dinged, Joe.
Oh, boy. He had to run. He wasn't sure, so instead of sliding once he got there, he picked up a couple extra yards. It's a great effort, but, boy, this is not good.
No, it's not. Tua Tagovailoa is up, walking slowly off the field, however.
You knew it right away. But if you look at the play, he lowers his head and he runs into Damar Hamlin, of all people, and Tua initiates the contact there. But it's not a helmet-to-helmet. And then, it's one of those situations where you go, what's he thinking? But players, they react. It's instinctive. Should he be out there running, lowering his head? No. He survived all last year. No concussions. 2022, we know what happened there. Now, if I go back to the 2022 NFL season, that was week 3, Sunday, 1 o'clock game, when he was injured against the Buffalo Bills. Clearly, he had a concussion. Clearly. But they said that it was his back. The official injury, if you go back and look at that, it says that he suffered a back injury. The injury report was never listed as a concussion. Okay. 4 days later against the Bengals, Thursday night, concussion. And it's a nationally televised game. And then inactive for week 5 and 6. Then he's cleared. And then a day before the week 6 game, but he was held out of that game as well. The day after the week 16 loss to the Packers, that's Christmas Day, national TV, once again, goes into the concussion protocol. He had symptoms there. 2 days later, Tua, it's confirmed, had a concussion, and he was ruled out of week 17 and eventually week 18. So that's 2 concussions. He wasn't cleared to return to practice since entering the concussion protocol for the Dolphins in the wild card playoff matchup. He was held out of that as well, and that was the Dolphins' last game of the year. Now you say, okay, that's 3 concussions. To me, it's 4 concussions. And I know this gets tricky. Even last night, and the first thing I thought of when I saw Tua walk off the field, as strange as this is going to sound, but this is what I thought. Hines Ward told me when the Steelers played the Ravens, he went across the field and he got his bell rung. He knew that he was concussed. He gets to his feet and he started limping. He said he thought that if he could limp, maybe they would not rule him out with a concussion. When Tua's coming off the field, he starts limping. And I'm wondering if in that moment he's thinking, how do I stay in the game? They didn't even take him to the blue tent. They took him to the locker room. And that's when I realized that this was going to be serious again. I know that he took jujitsu. He was learning how to fall. And as I've said before, you can learn how to fall, but that doesn't mean the person tackling you is going to help you with you learning how to fall. And last year went well. But also, if you look at the Dolphins' offense, it's predicated on Tua not being back 7 yards. It's quick. That's why you got two of the fastest receivers in football. If you're going to go 80 yards with a touchdown pass from Tua, chances are he threw it 15 yards, and then you took it 65. It's a timing aspect there, and they were not on the same page last night. Kirk Herbstreit was saying that. Herbie said, something's wrong here. They were not in synchronicity, and it's all about timing there. And now you have Skylar Thompson, the backup quarterback. That's not the style that he plays. And, I did think about that as well, where I'm going, okay, you have somebody who has at least had a couple of concussions. Yes, you did give him that big contract. Everybody's holding their breath. But if something happens, like this could be Tua's last game this year, and it could put an end to the Dolphins trying to be a playoff team this year. I mean, that's the harsh reality of this. And then we're going to talk to Mike Florio next hour about salary cap ramifications. And look, I'm trying to be as sensitive as possible, but my job is still to look at this through the lens of sports. The team, salary cap, quarterbacks who could be available. Yes. Do I like Tua? Met his family at the Super Bowl in Miami? Yes. Always been friendly to us. I hope the best for him. I'm not here to say he should retire. But here's the tricky part with this. If he is medically cleared and he decides he doesn't want to play, there's a chance that all that guaranteed money will not be guaranteed. So imagine if you're the doctor who's going to either clear him or not clear him. If he decides, you know what, I want to have a long life here and I'm not going to play. Or if he is cleared, then and you're more susceptible to concussions after you've had a concussion. But this is what we've talked about. Even when he got the big contract, I wouldn't have given him the contract because of this. It would make me nervous. And I know he played so well last year. And the last person who should be lowering his head and taking on contact, he initiated contact, is Tua. And that's why do the best you can, but you can't really protect a player from himself. Instinctively, he's trying to get a first down there. And it was sad because you want to see these players be great. He is a great story. The injury he suffered in college. The Dolphins took a big chance on him. They passed on other quarterbacks. Then you get Mike McDaniel coming in. He brings in his offense. They're explosive. They're exciting. Tyreek Hill, Jalen Waddle, OBJ. They're ready to go. And then this happens. And it's sad. It really was. It was sad to watch it last night. Here is Mike McDaniel, the Dolphins head coach, on Tua's injury.
I think it's important to approach each and every situation to the much like approach every injury with it, which is basically, all right, we're going to handle this particular situation with this particular player. Every situation is unique to its own. So, I think there's, for me, I'm not worried about anything that's out of my hands in terms of, I'm just worried about the human being. And he'll drive the ship when we get the appropriate information, but it's day by day health.
He's clearly shook. You can hear it. He's struggling to find the words. What do you say? How do you spin this in a positive way? But the Dolphins are going to have football decisions to make. And here we are. It's week 2. Tua, with the help of family, friends, a doctor, is going to have a decision to make football-wise as well. His future. And I know there are a lot of people on social media said he should retire. I said that before, but, I'm not the one out there. He's the one who probably thinks, I can still make this work. All it takes is one play, one moment. And it didn't seem like it was going to be something that led to this. He initiated the contact. He lowered his helmet. He didn't he didn't connect with Damar Hamlin's helmet. He initiated this, went to the ground. And he ran into Damar Hamlin's shoulder, his bicep. And as soon as he lowered his head, I go, oh, like, I didn't think he would be concussed, but I'm like, he shouldn't be lowering his head. And then he's down. And then his teammates knew exactly what was going on, and then they surrounded him so the cameras or people in the audience in the stadium wouldn't know what's going on. But when you see where their hands and arms are stiff, I mean, it's scary. That is scary. And everybody, we're trying to perfect the helmet. The helmet doesn't protect the brain. It protects the skull. It doesn't protect the brain. But Tua, I don't know what the timeline would be with anything. And I don't even want to speculate with that. I just want to deal with what is the football aspect of this. We all want Tua to be healthy. We hope that he gets to play again. But my job is also to look at what the bottom line is here. What do the Dolphins do now? Do they bring back Ryan Tannehill? Can you get somebody who plays a similar style to Tua? Because that's what the offense is built around, Tua. Skylar Thompson, they didn't look like they had confidence in him to run that offense. Even when they get down inside the 5, they were running the football. They weren't going to let him pass. I don't know if you reach out to the Rams. Jimmy Garoppolo's been suspended. Do you say, hey, we'll give you whatever? I mean, you guys are ready to go now. This team is ready to go now. You got the Jets. You got the Bills. The Patriots might be a little more competitive. But prior to the trade deadline, can you go out there and get somebody and salvage your season? Is Tua going to be able to come back? Do the Dolphins want him to come back? Does he want to come back? So there's a lot of things in play here other than it is a concussion and it's a nationally televised game. I can't overemphasize that enough when we see it. If this is a 1 o'clock game, it resonates differently with people. You're watching it and everybody has, some kind of opinion on this. Former players saying he should retire. Let's get the medical diagnosis. You get your bell rung. This isn't his 3rd concussion or 4th concussion. Chances are he's had numerous concussions. It used to be when I was growing up, my brothers would play football and they would get their bell rung. That's like, oh, got your bell rung? Yeah, well, get back out there. Well, they were suffering concussions. We just kind of softened it a little bit. Yeah, you got your bell rung. Okay. Who'd we have? Troy Polamalu. I said, how many concussions? He goes, I'll tell you when I'm done playing football. But he said, I think he got his bell rung over 100 times. Just do the math with this. And if you're Tua, his family, those around him, it's a lot of money. But you want to live a life. Because you know what happens? I don't know how many people are checking on Jack Lambert today, the way he played for the Steelers, or Mike Singletary, the way he played. Like, these players play, they give everything, and then they go. And then we move on from them. Like Bob Sanders, the way he played for the Colts. See, that's what would worry me, because we just kind of chew you up, spit you out, another guy comes in, and we move on, and then all of a sudden we see Earl Campbell in a wheelchair, and we go, golly, look at Earl Campbell. But when he was playing, we loved it. Love you, Blue.